to carry away the body, she took something from her pocket and put it into her father's hand, his pipe. Sia quietly left the exercise grounds, empty save for the trash left by the crowd. Turned to rain. Since the temperature near ground was still below freezing, the rain turned to ice on the trees. Gigantic icicles hung from the trees, and the forest turned into a crystal palace.
It's not even science fiction. It's fantasy. The next day, the IDC's work of deciphering Yun Tianming's message began in earnest. Very soon, everyone came to appreciate the warning by the children's story writer.
Even if you hate time off, you have to be able to admit, I have to be able to admit, that there is a shit part of my day, right? So if I'm going to scrape away anything to start to get some of this work-life balance, at least I can target what that might look like, right? Right. Second, if that...
Together, so we...
Deaf identity. Their message was clear. It might seem like a bit of an overreaction, but it's born of real oppression. Back in the 1880s, the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell, had some seriously controversial views on people who were deaf and chose to remain mute. He claimed that they would choose to intermarry, leading to what he called a defective race. He went as far as to say that deaf-mute intermarriages should be forbidden. They never were, of course, but it's not hard to see why the deaf community felt so threatened, then and now. In reality, many individuals with hearing loss don't consider themselves in need of fixing. They just belong to a different culture. And like any other culture, deaf culture has its roots in shared experiences, a common language, and a mutual understanding of what it's like to live in a soundless world. It can be a powerful thing to belong to such a community. But from Brandon's experience, it can sometimes be too closed off.
Would you get the 12-inch when you could get, until recently, the crappy old 13-inch MacBook Air, which was actually a pretty great computer if you didn't care about Retina. Like, you could get
southbound lanes, still a bit of volume here off the north end from Taylor Way, slow there out of West Vancouver, just slow on the merge for traffic out of North Vancouver. That volume does open up across the bridge, northbound minor slowdowns here out of downtown Vancouver.
Advice, Miriam?
Have a dog who will bark in the middle of the night if anybody breaks in.
Genius! But wait, who wrote the letter? We never got to that part, and the letter is...
Published. He came out with a composition called A Mysterious Axeman's Jazz, or Don't Scare Me, Papa.
Now, we knew this already, but the timing that Miriam is describing here is critical. There is a possibility that the letter was like this viral guerrilla marketing campaign.
Whoa. Dude, blinkers.
Jefferson Airplane was singing, bringing up the dawn. And just magically, this couple stood up and hugged. They kissed, smiled at each other, and the woman leaned her head on the man's shoulder. I just had time to get off a few frames of black and white and a few of color.
And that's how Nick and Bobby...